Okay, so let's get back to hi, good morning, everybody. Let's get back to understanding what the tests of life are about. So first things first, Hashem wants us to know and be conscious of our 100% connection and attachment, connection, dependence on Hashem. Now, the word dependence sounds not so popular in today's world, but we depend on Hashem in order not to have to depend on people. It's a healthy thing. Now we have to have healthy dependence too. We'll talk about that. But when we depending on Hashem, 100%, that's emunah. It's a complete umbilical cord relationship. We cannot exist without the connection to Hashem. Now, does Hashem allow us to exist without that connection? Yes, Hashem does. Because one can function without any thoughts about Hashem and our dependence on Hashem. We know, Kochi v'otzem yadi, the self-made person, the self-made woman, the self-made man, self-made. And Hashem, the fact that that even concept exists is clearly an indication that Hashem has given us an alternative. So that knowing Hashem and knowing our 100% dependency to Hashem is a free will choice. It's a choice. Because you're going to be surrounded by people who don't keep Shabbos and don't keep anything else, and they're existing, and they're on their whatever they're doing. Okay, so Hashem is in this way the beginning, and at the beginning, the continuous, and right up to the last breath. Now, because there's an alternative, and one can not think about our 100% dependency on Hashem, we're going to be tested. So let's say we start out thinking, okay, I'm 100% dependent on Hashem. Hashem is everything. I need the basics of life, air, water, food, clothing. I have it all. Where is Hashem? Yes, Hashem is willing it. Hashem is willing everything that every gift of life is an active willingness of Hashem to give it to us. But we can forget about Hashem. So, as I say, bringing Hashem in is a free will choice. And it's the first and most important choice. But that choice is going to be tested. Now, when is it easiest to test a choice like that? So, in a challenging place. Exactly.
That's when it's easier to pull that up.
Right. You're so right. You got it exactly right. When things are challenging, and here we're in it right now. This is the first Purim of my life. I mean, we've had some I wasn't here. I don't know if the Sinai. This is the first time in my life that I've been here. There were a lot of wars since I've been here. But that on Purim, we are still in a war. It's something. But hopefully this is the last war. Mm-hmm. In Mesa Hashem, because this is a war already against Hashem in a big way. Because when you want to get rid of Am Yisrael, it's just an effort to erase any obligation, any knowledge of Hashem. Hashem, we are the nation that bring an awareness of Hashem into the world. And here it is, our immune is being tested. Things are not great, although it's very hard to balance, because on one hand, there's a normalcy, and on the other hand, people's lives have been blown apart forever. But the fact is that everything exists, and just the way we can internalize and accept conflicting realities is recognizing that they're both coming from the one source, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
But it's interesting that we use depend, the word depend, because the word depend it's easy to, when you depend on someone, it's easy to take it for granted. And then it's hard to stay in that positive. Depend has almost like a negative, and maybe nowadays it has a negative connotation. Like you said, we all like to be independent. But when you depend on someone, it's very easy to take it for granted what they're doing for you. So then we very easily slide into self-made man from dependence.
Healthy dependence.
You want dependence, but you need to be very humble as to where, because with that dependence, without the humbleness, leads back to being nonchalant about it.
Right. So that's right. That's the test of dependence. Our dependence on Hashem is going to be tested. And because what's being tested is complacency. Because the sun gets up every morning.
But we expect
it. But we also say a blessing every day in our chakras. It's all about the sun and the moon, the star, everything, the whole constellation.
Right, Hashem brings in every second.
Every second. Hashem wills every second.
But we expect it.
That's right. But we expect it. Exactly right. So therein, we are sensing the test here.
The test is very.
It's an ongoing test in a way. It's the test is.
It's human.
Yeah, it's part of the human existence, because Hashem gave us, being faithful.
Against our nature.
Right. It's against our nature, because Hashem gave us the opportunity to live a life completely disconnected from Hashem. But what type of a life is it, right? And where does that lead? Look, the world, anybody who's pro-Palestinian is completely disconnected. Disconnected. Now look how many people. Well, no, not. But you can give them already the benefit of the doubt, especially if they're Jewish, that they're ignorant. It's very hard. If somebody came to my house today and see I'm living, I have everything, and say, there's a war going on, they want to kill you, what are you talking about? Look how you're living. But the fact is that, we've made ourselves dependent on the Arabs here. Go into any hospital and you'll see who is serving you. And they walk around like they own the place too. And you know something? In some ways they do. Because they do there's a lot of the nurses and the what they call practical nurses, or all the cleaning, very, very uncomfortable. So how can we live with them? Only by living with Hashem. Because to live with them and try to pacify them like our poor,
never works.
It never works.
It's not supposed to.
And it's not supposed to, exactly. But that's what our brethren who are living within a stone's throw of Gaza were challenging. They were deciding that they were going to show that if you're being nice to somebody, it's going to have an effect. Oh yes, this had an effect, all right. All right. So the point is that to see that Hashem, which Hashem is running the whole show, we are 100% healthfully dependent. It's a healthy dependency. When it comes to Hashem, you couldn't be dependent enough. Thank Hashem. You could be thanking Hashem for every breath, the lungs, for everything that's working. Now, so the test, when things are not going well, so what are we saying? Look, our chatufim, their families, I mean, the torture, it's torment. But on the other hand, the comfort that can come, I think as much as the captives are worthy of their sins, they're being tortured for being Jewish. But their parents, the torment the parents are getting out. They're slamming, and I'm not sure which door it is.
That one just opened next to the kitchen.
Ah, that's it. So we are living, so to be faithful to Hashem, when you're living in conflicting realities, is but that's the test. Because if conflicting realities is our logic and our feelings, the unity that our Emunah brings to fore, that means that we know Hashem, we know what Hashem wants from us. We know it. It's beferish. We have the Torah, we know exactly what Hashem wants from us. And the fact is that what Hashem wants from us is going to be tested. It's the test of loyalty. Now, look what happened. We had two Batei Mikdash. The first one, can you imagine in all the splendor and glory, how it became, it lost the whole Shekhinah, left.
It's hard to imagine.
It's hard to imagine.
That the people could fall so far.
Right. But
when there was so much possibility in their eyesight. Yes,
the base Mikdash was right there. But by the time it was destroyed, it was just stones and bricks. It was not anymore a place where the divine essence resided. We have to understand, again, this loyalty is going to be tested. And it's not so pashut to stay loyal. We need Hashem's help to keep us stay loyal. We need Hashem's help, and that's part of it. So here, it's just exactly what happened. Yirmiyahu, the Navi, who prophesied and tried to wake Am Yisrael up, right? But who ends up waking Yisrael up more than anybody else? Is Haman, the enemy, not the friend, the enemy. Here we are, exactly in the same position that we went through Purim, in the exact same circumstances that Am Yisrael is being woken up. Those who allow themselves to be woken, don't think there aren't some people that are still in a stupor.
You know what? It's interesting because America just didn't vote in favor of Israel yesterday. And it's a really good reminder that who are we depending on?
Who are we depending on?
Not America.
That's right. Loyalty is only up to, we have to know, is as a woman especially, we are the models of loyalty. Loyalty is to Hashem and to our husbands. That's where loyalty comes into play. And loyalty to Hashem is to believe that Am Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu are a divinely, out of Hashem's imagining, a creation. There is no other nation like Am Yisrael. We have a neshama that is built uniquely to be able to perform Torah and mitzvah, to learn Torah and perform mitzvahs. It is not. It's just a different construction. Every human being has a neshama, because otherwise they would never have an intrinsic ability to sense truth and justice. There's something intrinsic to every human being. Of course, you can cloud up that neshama. You can disconnect from it. It can be done. That's what happens here with these people. That the world is these people, these disconnecting from truth, disconnecting from Hashem, disconnecting from your whole self. But the fact is that every human being has an neshama, but it's not the same. And people just don't understand, why should we be superior? Why should we have a different type of neshama? Because we have different type of responsibilities. People think we have privileges. Yes, but we have responsibilities. Only Am Yisrael has the responsibility of bringing the Kedusha into the world. They're bringing the Shekhinah into this world. That's our bringing. And when I say we bring Kedusha, because only Am Yisrael have Kedusha, and therefore when the body and the soul separate, there's something called Tuma. The other nations, the other peoples, the Kedusha is all brought to us through Torah and mitzvahs. We have the potential for Kedusha, but until we learn Torah and perform mitzvahs, it's not being realized and actualized. I think that for the people who never had Shabbos before, I'm hoping that something will be restored, some layers of shall I say, layers of separation around our own neshamas, feeling the unbelievable uniqueness. We are unique. Our relationship with Hashem is unique. And our connection and our attachment to Hashem is also unique. Now, I'm not saying Goy shouldn't be attached to Hashem. They have Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach. But it's Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach actually appeal to a person's intellect. Our mitzvahs, we're supposed to look at all the mitzvahs, even if some of them sound like they make sense, but all the mitzvahs we're supposed to accept just on the basis of serving Hashem, our loyalty to Hashem. Hashem, you're telling us not to steal? We're not going to steal. You're telling us this? We're not going to do it. Whereas, yes, the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach also have that, but as I said, interestingly enough, it also appeals to logic. Whereas we have a whole host of mitzvahs that have, it's beyond logic, but it certainly sharpens and deepens our connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All right? So this is what we are being now. The Hamans of today are doing their job. They're reminding us on whom we can rely on. And that is that's Emunah. Emunah is only looking to Hashem, only relying on Hashem. When something comes up and we think this person or that person, you just say, okay, Hashem, if this is your shaliach, they should be a shaliach told. But it's all Hashem. All right, so we said the easiest time to turn away is when there's tragedy, when there's really something sad going on, and how are we going to stay close to Hashem? And the answer is for Am Yisrael, when there's things that are not going well, our secret to survival is we get closer to Hashem. We get closer. And this is what made the Nazis crazy. I told you, when Am Yisrael, when the Jews were being marched off to the crematoriums, to what they thought was, it's not the crematorium, they were these showers, they knew what was going on. And they said, Shema Yisrael. How can you not abandon your Hashem, your Elohim, when you know you're being faced with what you're being faced? And that's true. So unfortunately, we don't want to be in those type of tests. But that's a true Jew. A true Jew in the times of difficulty turns closer to Hashem. It's beyond our logic and it's beyond our emotions. Okay, now I'm going to go back now to the Sefer, and in the Sefer we're going to read the test of Emunah. All right, so what is the test of Emunah? How can we understand it? Okay, so in the Sefer it says here that that the way Hashem, the Navi, Yirmiyahu, presents to us, the way Hashem interacts and views the relationship between Hashem and Am Yisrael is like the way a husband and wife is like it's in parallel to the relationship of a husband and wife. Now, what does a Hashem and Am Yisrael have in common with a husband and wife? Okay, now, this is the biggest secret, and it's only Am Yisrael, and it's the Jewish marriage. In a Jewish marriage, we are not saying that two are becoming one under the chuppah. No. In Jewish marriage, we're saying from the onset, from the inception, from the conception, the inception of the neshama, that is the basis upon which we're under the chuppah. We are united on a neshama level and under the chuppah, we transform into a unity that now is not only one neshama, but also, what's the first mitzvah after you leave the chuppah? V'hayu lebasar echad. They were going to be one body. So what is the origin? The origin is they have the same root. They have the same root neshama. And so, and when that's the Emunah. Now, that's a husband and wife. That Hashem created the neshama of a husband and wife prior to their going to the chuppah. They're under the chuppah because they're already a creation, but only on the neshama level. The complete creation is also, and that's why a marriage is only a marriage if it's been consummated. I'm not sure about consummation at a young age is not the same as consummation if you're 100 years old. It's whatever it is, the pleasure of the woman in the bigger picture. As I told you with my 80-year-old lady, 80-something-year-old lady, we hold hands under the covers, okay? The point is, though, that somehow or other there's a physical connection. There's a spiritual connection in the beginning, and now there's a physical connection. Now, how does that parallel to Am Yisrael and Kadosh Baruch Hu? It parallels it because we are one in the beginning. We're part of each other to start out with. And that's what Hashem is telling us. The neshama of a Jew is chelik mimala. It's a part of Hashem that's inside of us. So we start out, and it's a different part of Hashem than what a neshama of a non-Jew. We as Jews have a unique neshama. We have to appreciate. You know that a non-Jew is not allowed to observe Shabbos. I've told you that before, right? Because it's the sign, it's the os, it's the sign of this unique relationship of part of each other. We are part of Hashem in that we have a piece of Hashem inside of us. And that is, so that the origin of a Jew is the neshama, and the relationship between Jew and Hashem is the neshama connection. And it's the same thing as with the husband and wife. The origin of a husband and wife is what? A neshama connection. So that's why the Navi could present to us in his Nevuah the claim that Am Yisrael and Kadosh Baruch Hu behave with each other the way a husband and wife do. So what is the behavior? What is the main fundamental basis of the relationship between a husband and wife and Am Yisrael and Kadosh Baruch Hu? Loyalty. Loyalty. Not is he going to make enough of a parnasa so I can live in a mansion, and not because he's going to be I imagine him as being a good father. Loyalty. That's the basis of the connection. And am I going to be loyal to what? To the belief that we are a unity. We are a unity. Am Yisrael Kadosh Baruch Hu are a unity. The outside world can't understand that, and they're not meant to understand that. And to think that another we have to, our relationship with the non-Jewish world is the way Hashem is relating. Hashem's teaching us arm's length distance relationship, not disconnect, but an arm's length distance relationship. With a Jew, we have all sorts of obligations with a Jew. All the halachas bein adam l'chaveiro. Very important, because a Jew has to feel his importance, the importance of his neshama, this incredible neshama. And how am I going to feel it? By the way you treat me and I treat you. That's why the halachas bein adam l'chaveiro are protective of each other. How am I going to treat you? I'm going to treat you on the highest level, safe, important, and redeemable. That is going to be challenged, and the loyalty to our husbands is going to be challenged all the time. So what woman would say, I'm not loyal to my husband? I don't think you could find a Jewish woman. But guess what? We are in a natural position to fall, but fall is not failing. Falling is not failing. We miss the opportunity. We know what is at stake here. Loyalty, fidelity. We're going to go back and we're going to bring into play the midah of humility. Loyalty and humility are two sides of a coin. Because if we miss the opportunity to be loyal, then we have to be humble and go back and say, I regret what I said, what I did, whatever. this is what I wished I had done. Now, a man is programmed to loyalty. It's like a king. A king wants loyalty. A woman's loyalty to her husband is like the Am Yisrael's loyalty to Hashem. Hashem wants our loyalty. Our husbands want our loyalty. Are our husbands loyal to us? We have to give them the motivation to keep on doing for us what he is programmed to do. He go out, he bring Torah in, bring Parnasa in, develop himself on the outside so he can bring it in to the inside. Loyalty in a marriage this is the most important part to understand. We are loyal to each other because we are part of each other. We come from the same, we are same root origin. Our neshama is the same root origin. And I'm going to but it's so not just like believing that is no different than believing in Hashem because we don't see it. So our knowing, believing is not just believing. Believing is supposed to be knowing. Because if it's a belief, I don't know, maybe it stays with you. You have to know, you have to have a certainty. A belief has to be a knowing. We have to know Hashem. How do we know Hashem? We know Hashem because we're willing to enter in. The way you know Hashem is by your willingness to enter into the Torah framework of life. Because Torah is the way to know Hashem. Our Jews who have been anti-Torah, have been anti-Hashem. I mean, I can't even tell you, it's so hard to believe, but it's so, the wall between the extreme secularists and the nicest from people is still very big. What did they say? The person who was, I think there was a story in the beginning of the war, a couple from maybe Be'eri got their car broke down on the road. You heard that? And from people stopped and helped them out. And they still had their prejudice. And then the Shabbos, Simchas Torah, instead of being in Be'eri, they were in Aprok, and they were saved. Right? But the wall of separation, I won't call it hatred, I'll call it a wall of separation. But we can't afford that because it's like you can't separate because we're all from the same root neshama. All of them Yisrael, yes, is one collective root neshama. And us and our husbands is one individual root neshama. And to be disloyal is to be disloyal to this knowledge that we are really one. That's what it means to be disloyal. So when we act in a way that pushes our husbands away or distances Hashem, our awareness of Hashem and our dependence on Hashem, pushes that reality away, that's disloyal. So we can come back though to Hashem, to our husbands. It's a beautiful thing. And we should do that. How? Remembering that loyalty to our husbands is safe, important, redeemable. Just keep on remembering that. And loyalty to Hashem loyalty to our husbands is loyalty to Hashem, because we're not going to be able to make our husbands feel safe, important, and redeemable if we don't ask for Hashem's help. All right? So now the Navi in Yirmiyahu, he says, because Am Yisrael did not stop understanding that Am Yisrael and Hashem are a creation. Now that sounds crazy, and we have to be loyal to Hashem within our part. So if you don't understand that we are part, Hashem is part of us, then if you don't see that, then you see, how do you see your relationship with Hashem? How does Avodah Zarah come into the picture? Avodah Zarah comes into the picture. You don't see, because you think, okay, so as long as things are going well, we're gonna stay connected. And when things don't go well, we're gonna go elsewhere. That's Avodah Zarah. I mean, we had the golden calf, not just a couple of weeks ago. When people felt secure that Hashem is in your camp, they felt secure. So they were able to withstand and resist. As soon as they thought Hashem abandoned them, which is never going to happen, they abandoned Hashem. And that's where Avodah Zarah came in. So if you don't see that Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim is part of our belief, our knowing that Hashem and Israel are attached together forever. So if we don't see that, then we think we can go elsewhere. And that's the first Avodah Zarah that Israel after the golden calf, and we can do it into every. And here you say, how can the Beis Hamikdash, the place, the Shechina, how can Israel stray away? Because there is an atiyah, there's an inclination to stray away, because Hashem is testing our loyalty. Staying loyal is a test, and it requires, we know the tester, it requires our connection to Hashem all the time. That's why when it comes to being loyal to the people in our life, Hashem is telling us we have to follow the prescription. First, we have to meet our husbands, then our parents, along with our Torah teachers, and then all of Klal Yisrael. There's a hierarchy of loyalty, of showing our attachment to. The most important is the husband, and through our attachment to Hashem. And then everything else, our children, our parents, our children come after our parents, of course. And the children, the family. Okay, so it says, Achein Bagda Isha Mere'ah. Therefore, because the Am Yisrael already had lost touch with the origin of Am Yisrael, that we are, as a nation, we are a attached nation. We're like an appendage. I mean, Hashem should forgive me, but I'm just right. We're like an appendage of Hashem in the world. So if you feel you're an appendage of, connected to, so you don't stray. You can't stray because you're part of. When you feel you're disconnected, you feel that I'm an entity and this is an entity. And yeah, when we have common goals, we get together, but I can stray off. When the physical, emotional, logical part of who we are takes over, we can stray very far away from our husbands and Hashem. And what we're being asked here is not to stray, to keep single-minded focus, and it's going to be challenged. It's going to be tested. We have to keep on reminding ourselves that the origin is Ishut, Aish. Aish represents the neshama, not the destructive Aish. Aish could be a destruction, but the neshama. Ner Hashem Nishmas Adam. Aish is the only physical representation we have of the neshama. And by the way, when we light our candles on Friday night, we are reigniting the unity of the neshamas. Not the unity is there. We're reigniting our knowing that we are a united neshama. That's why there's such a yetzer hara for not to be united, to fight with our husbands right before candle lighting, because candle lighting is, we have two candles, but the bracha is lahadlik ner shel Shabbos. Ner is the single united flame. That's what we are lighting every Friday night. We are re-accessing that loyalty, that knowledge that my husband and I are a single flame. That's what our Friday night candle lights are all about. And not just us, myself and my husband, but the ner between myself, us, Am Yisrael, and a Kadosh Baruch Hu. The ner shel Shabbos. So this is, again, all this is like little sub supports, but it's not a little. Shabbos and Neros and Shabbos is a big support of the knowing that we are of one origin, one root origin on the neshama level. So that's why when Yirmiyahu, a Navi, talks about Am Yisrael to Hashem, he's comparing us to a woman who has betrayed not her husband, her Re'ah. What does Re'im Ahuvim mean? Re'im is a friend. Re'im, what brings friends together? Not the fact that we are of the same neshama star. What brings Re'im together is that we have a shared common goal. So you see, a person who sees the shared common goal is what brings us together. That's what marriage would be outside of Torah. A Torah marriage is we are one neshama, and that incorporates common goals. So let's go back. One neshama is reflected in the word ish, isha. The root word is esh, one neshama. The ishut includes re'ut. Re'ut means two people who share a common goal. But re'ut never includes ishut. And this is the downfall. Here is the downfall. This is the difference. We have two types of relationships in our life as Jews. We have a relationship with Hashem and our husbands that is called Ishut. We come from the same root origin. And then we have a relationship with our husbands that's also called Re'ut. Re'ut means that we have shared common goals, and which means we're going to start a family, we're going to raise children, we're going to bring Torah into our home, we're going to go out for parnasa, we're going to live Torah. We're going to learn Torah and live Torah and bring the bracha, the Shechina, into our home. These are very high spiritual goals, and therefore they should be perpetual goals in a Jewish marriage. But you can have those goals without believing that you're a unity. I mean, every couple that raises children, our shared goal is we're going to raise children. Our shared goal is we're going to go out and work and make enough money to have to pay for clothing and food, and right. So those are shared goals. But being a united creation from the outset, that's a husband and wife, that's Am Yisrael Kadosh Baruch Hu, and we do have a collective responsibility because we are part of the collective neshama of Am Yisrael. That's like a exclusivity club. And therefore we have responsibilities to other Jews that we wouldn't have to people who are not Jewish. Okay, so now we understand here that the whole outside world views relationships as re'ut, two separate people who are connected because they have a common goal. The common goal changes. They're not helping. They don't feel the other person is carrying their weight towards the common goal. It's whatever you want to call it. So it's very easy to dissolve that type of a relationship. But a relationship that's based on ishut, that we are essentially part of each other, that requires a total commitment of loyalty. And that loyalty is unique to Am Yisrael, unique to a husband and wife, unique to Am Yisrael and Kadosh Baruch Hu. And that loyalty will be tested. And our emotions and our intellect and our logic could take us very far away. Okay, everybody's gonna stop here. And everybody's gonna say one thing you heard today. Is that in my mind? Let me just get my
I took your pen.
Huh?
I took one of your pens.
Okay, good. That's why I put a bunch of them out there. Here. Okay. Ita.
Okay, based on what we just settled today about Ish and about how we have to be sometimes instead of Yirmiyahus, we have to have Hamans. So I have a Purim Torah for you. How do we know that Hashem sent Haman?
Because he sent him.
No. From what Esther said. No, based on what we said about Ish, Hama, Ish, Harasha, Ish. What did she say? Ish. Well, she called Haman Ish, right? So
yeah.
I'm giving you a Purim Torah sent from Hashem because it's Ish. That was my question. Why would she call him an Ish? Ish is usually like, symbolic of someone of stature because he's sent from Hashem. So I'm sending you Purim Torah.
Thank you. I'll go into it more. Yeah.
That Hashem sent Haman.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
the
going to go into it. I'm going to look into it.
I don't know. That's my Purim Torah. I don't know if anyone ever says that, but it was my question why she calls him an Ish.
Okay, good.
So, yeah. Thank you. So, yeah. Okay. What else did I learn? Humility. There's never enough understanding that humility will always be tested. And that's why when I say in Sfarad, there's Nusach Sfarad, there's a Hiratzon in Elokai Nitzar, and it says v'sein b'libi hachnava nava. Every Shmona Esrei, I'm asking Hashem v'sein b'libi hachnava nava. You can't. How can I ask Hashem to change my midos? He can't. That's our job. Hashem can't change my midos, but He can always prepare the conditions for me in which I can choose hachnava nava. So that's what
Help me choose.
trying to remind. So that's
Hashem.
that is my self insight today, is that when I'm feeling that shtach of, where I have to become humble, that is a test, and that's a schus, because then you become like Hashem, who is humble, right? So
Yeah, I like that. Hashem, help me choose humility. I've never, had that feeling. That's a very good one. Okay, Cheryl, one thing you heard today that stands out in your mind.
Becoming closer is our secret power.
Yeah, becoming closer.
Becoming closer during hardships.
Right. Becoming closer during hardships is our secret power. And that's why we survived. Because we've had hardships forever. And we're here. And other people becoming closer during hardships is our secret. Right. Closer to Hashem. Hardships is our secret. It really is. People, as I said, okay, my dear ladies, thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
had such a privilege. Okay, let me just stop recording. I'm glad I recorded this.